everyone, this is Anna-Karin from Layers of Ink, and today I want to show you how I make the tags that I'll be using in my December daily album. I really like Ollie Edwards' idea of documenting every day of December, and I've been doing it. This will be the 5th year that I'm doing it, but I want my albums to be quite small. I just want to jot down some things quickly. I don't always include photos. I scrapbook my Christmas photos instead. That's why tags work really well for me. And last year I made this December countdown calendar. I'll put the link below. And it's nice for the kids because they can see how we get closer to Christmas. So every day I remove a tag, I write my journaling, and then I put it into the album. I'm going to show you the album and how I make the cover of the album probably next week. This is last year's album. And then you'll see that I just put the tags in with the journaling. So I was inspired by this week's Simon Says Stamp Monday challenge. And our theme this week is a trio of something. And I decided to use a trio of distress inks. It's Wilted Violet, Cracked Pistachio and Blueprint Sketch. And this is a bit of a different color combination than what I've used for my other December daily albums. So I'm working on Ranger's Manila cardstock. And because I want my tags to be double-sided, I ink it on both sides. And one of the quickest ways of doing this is to work on a non-stick craft sheet. Because I'm going to write on my tags, I don't want them to be too dark. So the color I'll be using the most is the Cracked Pistachio. So I just start by inking up the craft sheet with the Cracked Pistachio. And then adding less of the two darker colors. That's it. Then you want to mist the ink. Because distress inks are made to react with water. They work perfectly for this technique. As you can see, I'm adding quite a lot of water. And then I'm just putting my paper into the ink. I press it down slightly. And then take it up. So here's the result. And I'm now going to put this aside to dry, and then I'll continue with the back of the paper. Okay, so once the ink is dry on both sides of the paper, I'm going to die cut my tags. And for this I'm using one of my favorite dies from Sizzix and Tim Holtz. It's the tag and book plates. And I start by cutting the paper up in smaller pieces. I use another tag as my template. And then you can die cut them 2 or even 3 at a time. Since this is a steel rule die. So I just place them on top, and there is a cutting pad under my die and one on top. And then I just run it through my Big Shot. And there we have them. So I'll just continue until I have 26 tags, which is what I'll be using for my December album. Once I've die cut all my tags, I'm going to start stamping them. And this is a lot of fun. Just make sure they're completely dry first, otherwise your stamping is not going to be clear. And for my journaling, I'm using this ledger stamp from Tim Holtz School Desk Set, and I've been using this stamp for all my December albums. It creates a great space for journaling. I'll be inking it up with deep purple archival ink. You could of course use any color depending on the colors of your album. I'm not inking it up perfectly, as you can see, because I don't want the stamping to be perfect. And I'll just press it on my tag. I don't even press it down very hard. And there we have it. And I'll continue on the back and front of all the tags like that. I've been doing the dates on my tags a little differently through the years, but the easiest way is to stamp them. And this year I'm using the worn text numbers. I've already stamped some of the tags, as you can see, so I'm now going to do number 22. I'm stamping these with blueprint sketch so that they will match the background inking. I'm using a small acrylic block for these stamps because if you place a very small stamp on a large block, it's sometimes more difficult to get a good impression. So I'll just continue that until I have stamped numbers on all my tags. So once I've stamped the ledger and the numbers, I'm going to add some images and some sentiments. And for this I'll be using the 3 original colors as well as watering can. In my other December albums I've been using a dark brown, but since I'm using different colors this year, I decided to go with this gray shade instead. But here you can see on this first tag I used this beautiful cabin from the new Scribble Woodland set. Apart from this one, I'll be using some larger stamps, but most of the stamps that I'm using in the album are smaller, so the Christmas mini holiday sets are perfect for this. And I basically just sit down surrounded by a whole lot of stamps, and I pick and choose sort of randomly. So just to give you an idea, I'm going to stamp a couple of tags. I'll try to include all the colors on each tag. So this is now a new bauble, a sketchy bauble, like that. And I might want a sentiment. I stamp most of the sentiments with watering can. It just makes them more visible, easier to read. And perhaps a snowflake. I like adding snowflakes. I don't want to cover up too much of my writing area. And finally, on all tags, I'm stamping this kind of starry snowflake stamp using the cracked pistachio. It's sort of a filler stamp, it just adds texture without being overwhelming later, also for when I start writing on my tag. I stamped the back as well. I also like to include tree stamps of different kinds. And this is now watering can. Like that, isn't that nice? And then at the top, some branches and a little blue star. And then again I'll go in with a cracked pistachio. On these darker tags, you can see this tag is a bit darker, it doesn't show as much. Okay, let me show you one more. So I'm stamping now with a violet in the corner. Isn't that nice? And you really don't need to worry about the stamping being perfect. That's part of the fun with this type of random stamping. is that once everything is done and the album is put together, it will look great and no one is going to notice if some of the words are crooked or if things didn't turn out exactly as planned. And another little snowflakes, and then again the cracked pistachio stars. So one thing I really like with this method is that although each tag is different, because I used the same colors and because I repeated some of the stamps, there is a sense of unity throughout the album, but also interest, and above all it's really fun to just sit down and stamp like this. Here you can just see some of the pages, or tags rather. So these will now, once they're ready, they'll go onto my countdown calendar and then they'll go into the album. And as I said earlier, I'll try to do a video on my album next week. Thank you so much for watching, and remember you can always find more projects and inspiration on my blog Layers of Ink. Happy crafting! Bye!